Hello? 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 Are we good? We're live! Hello! Oh, dear. Dear. Well, what can we say? Everton nil. Chelsea nil. It's a squandered opportunity to go top of the league. And listen, a lot of people will say that we bottled it. They're not wrong. But at the same time, it was a fantastic display of defence from Sean Dyche's sides. Everton doing very well to just lock everything up and prevent us from fucking scoring. But at the same time, we it's annoying because we did make chances. We did. We should have scored. Jackson, brilliant chance. When Palmer squared it in, couldn't put it away. Jackson hit the post, couldn't put it away. There are other things that you could argue and contest. That being, I do think that they should have been down to at least 10 men. I do think that we should have had a penalty for the Pickford incident. But I'm not personally going to use any excuses. As the title says on the thumbnail, anyway, we just weren't good enough. We just weren't good enough. It's not a loss, but it certainly feels like one. That's for sure. I was saying that if there's ever a display that showcases that we are just not necessarily competing fully. It was a game like today. We couldn't find the answers. And yes, it's not a loss. And maybe people are, I think we're all being a bit reactionary, They certainly came close to winning it late a few times. I think it was frustrating. It was such a frustrating game. Such a frustrating game. But I don't know. Defensively, obviously, it didn't make too much of a difference. The fact that Cucurella was missing, that Badiashile or Fofana were missing, the fact that James is missing. But I would argue that Cucurella's presence was missing in the game like this. I think that whilst defending really well, a big part of them besting us or at least preventing us from scoring was shithouse behaviour, and you've got to give it to them. Pickford's. I think Doucouré was an absolute nightmare. Tarkowski was a fucking dickhead. And just rattled our players so much to the point that we just couldn't even. Counter-attacks were poor. Transition play was poor. Everything was poor, but not to the point where it just wasn't good enough to get a goal. Individual performances, obviously, Palmer. It is just becoming clear that we cannot rely solely on Cole Palmer to win the game for us every single time. That's not to suggest that he had like a terrible game, but he wasn't on the ball. He wasn't, massively like impactful. Obviously Jackson had that chance. Palmer squared it, and he could have easily had an assist. And that would have been a completely different game. I think either way you look at it, if Everton scored, we would have lost. Without a shadow of a doubt. There was no way we would have come back. If we scored, we would have won. There was no way that a draw would have occurred if either side had scored. I don't think. Both sides were so scared of conceding. I I know that sounded a bit like a Michael Owen thing to say, of like, if Everton scored, they would have won. If Chelsea scored, they would have won. The point I'm making is whoever scored first would have won. It was not that kind of game. But at the same time, like tactics, everything would have been, thrown out the window, and so a goal scoring fucking rampage could have occurred. The fact alone that we have pretty much relied on Sanchez to keep us from losing is again crazy. Tosin Adarabioyo, absolutely our best defender today by quite a margin. I think Disasi was a bit careless, but still made some pretty good tackles. Colwill again caught in possession. You would argue, obviously, I would argue that he was fouled on the halfway line when Tosin had to make that tackle. But you've got to play to the whistle. He didn't get up quick enough, didn't track back, and we were nearly made to pay because Colwill was caught in possession once again and just didn't react in the correct way. Elsewhere, I think Caicedo and Enzo are very good. I think Sancho and Neto were both. I don't know. I think Neto was the better out. I think Sancho had more of a runaround. I think Sancho was more. He was on the ball more, but I think Neto was when he had the chances, seemed to be more of a danger. Sancho didn't seem like much of a danger to me, to be completely honest. He didn't pass quick enough. He wasn't quick enough down the left-hand side. Ashley Young seemed to have him in his pocket for most of the game, and was kicking him around the fucking place as well. He needs to shoot more. He absolutely needs to shoot more. And I think that it's just quite frustrating because Neto just knows to just drill that right-hand side and go across. Even Madueke knows to just fucking run and cross the ball. Albeit Madueke sometimes, or most times, it's always a little too late. He tries to do it right at the last second, but I don't know. I don't think Sancho didn't have a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think that there were moments where it was frustrating to watch. The lack of drive and the lack of intensity from some players, not just Sancho, but some players. There just wasn't enough oomph. There wasn't enough speed. There wasn't enough. It just wasn't the game. It wasn't the game. Everyone was a little bit off today overall as a team, as a collective. Individuals were good, but as a collective, to win the game, it wasn't there. And I think we might be made to pay. In terms of the table, we now sit 1 point behind Liverpool. And Liverpool have 2 games in hand. So they can go 7 points clear if they win their 2 games in hand. We are also only 2 points ahead of Arsenal. But second place at Christmas, it's better than anyone else expected. Obviously, everyone is going to be calling us bottle jobs, and, it is what it is. Just keep doing what we were doing, saying that we're not in the title race, because we're not. This is exactly the reason why we've been saying, and it's not just a meme, it is a fact. There's going to be bumps in the roads. If Liverpool lose today, it's a fucking massive gift. It's a huge gift from Tottenham. Everton have helped Liverpool. Can Tottenham help Chelsea? It would be poetic, would it not? With that said, please do like the stream, like the video, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and hit the bell notification to be notified of any future content on the channel. A big thank you to each and every one of you that watched the watch along today, and of course watching this one as well. I think we reached a recent record for the watch alongs this season, where we had about 500 people watching at one point. So the streams are growing. They really are starting to pick up some steam once again. You know, I'm very, very appreciative. And at this time, I would like to say for those, well, just in general, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I will obviously see you on Boxing Day for the Fulham game, which is on Amazon Prime UK or Amazon Prime TV for those of you watching in the UK. Just a heads up, a reminder. The player ratings for this game will be out tomorrow at some point. There will also be a preview on Christmas Day. It's unlikely. It's unlikely. So the preview might be on Christmas Eve, if anything. So keep an eye out for all that stuff. Again, thank you so much for all the support. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. With that said, my name is Harry. Up the Chelsea. We didn't lose, but we certainly didn't win. All the best. And up the fucking Tottenham. Come on. Never thought I'd say that before, but Jesus, please win. For the love of God. Merry Christmas. All the best. Stay safe. Get absolutely rat-arsed. And have a wonderful time. See you soon.